Hello and welcome back to the Ben and Melanie Show. I'm your co-host Ben.
And I'm your co-host Melanie. And we have a little bit of housekeeping to do before we get started today. We do have an email address for you guys to contact us with comments. Interesting comments we might be able to share on a future episodes. So our email address is Ben and Melanie, the Ben and Melanie Show at gmail.com.
Yeah, the Ben and Melanie Show at gmail.com is the email address. If you have any comments or questions, just go ahead and email that email address and we'll see if we can address it. I also just really quick wanted to thank everybody who's already tuned in. We've already got a little bit of feedback and we're happy to see that some people have listened, so that's great. Yeah, so just want to say that.
And if you have any topics you'd like us to cover in the local news area, then you can feel free to email us those too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, anything you want us to address or anything like that, for sure.
So today we're going to start out with a much heated topic in this area. It's caused very many arguments at local township meetings. It is the wind turbine debate.
Yeah, it's gonna rattle a few people, I think, today. We just wanted to we could not ignore this. I see around here, I see signs everywhere, either for or against. And to hear some people talk of, wind power has raped and murdered somebody in 1996 and they're on the run and wind power deserves to be put in prison and or maybe executed and never to be let out again of prison. I don't know. Wind power is the most horrible thing ever, or wind power could be the future. Who knows here, Guess it depends on your perspective. Yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, the arguments against our wind turbines are, A, it's an eyesore. Can't see my farm field anymore because this big wind turbine's in the way. People say they're loud. We went out and test drove up to one of the turbines while it was running just to see if we could hear anything. And no, we could not hear a thing. It was quiet. You could barely hear the wind moving in the air. What else is there against the ice?
People say they cause migraines quite a bit. I'm not sure if that's a provable thing. It very well might be the case though, and you know what? It might be provable actually. I don't really know. People say that they can cause headaches and stuff like that, and it's a hard thing to argue with really. I guess I could say cloudy days cause headaches. The air pressure. You can't really argue with something like that. And if you just say wind turbines cause headaches, I guess they do. But I guess I could say coal power plants cause headaches too. And I don't want those around either. I don't want cars around because they cause headaches. I totally, I can't really argue with it. But in a way, there's nothing you can really do about it necessarily, I suppose. But yeah. Well, go ahead. Sorry, you had something here.
Yeah. So I pulled up an article from Forbes. And the article is dated September 29th, 2013. And the horrible headline says, "Forget eagle deaths, wind turbines kill humans." But when you actually read the article, it comes down here and it gives you statistics. Like, for example, in England, this is a direct quote. In England, there were 163 wind turbine accidents that killed 14 people in 2011. Wind produced about 15 billion kilowatt hours that year, so using a capacity factor of 25%, that translates to about 1,000 deaths per trillion kilowatt hours produced. And the world produces about 15 trillion kilowatt hours per year from all sources.
How are people dying from wind power? Does it say that?
Yes, and it comes down here. Most of them, it says, are maintenance-related activities. So basically, the people that have died from wind turbines are repairing or maintaining the turbines themselves and their falls during maintenance activities. It says wind energy kills a mere 100 people or so per trillion kilowatt hours, the majority from falls during maintenance activities. And that is a quote in here citing Toledo Blade.
That's a pretty old article, though, too.
It is an old article, but I pulled it up because of the controversial headline.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. More recently, in the local area here, we have an article from Wood TV 8 that says that 75 windmills could dot Montcalm County by 2024. Mm-hmm. And there's been a lot of arguments at the local townships. I mean, people have went in there screaming at local officials how they do not want this. But we do know that there are companies that will come in and stir up trouble when it comes to these things. I think, they'll advertise to people that it's dangerous or whatever, and it could be a competing thing like coal.
I think that's the best example. Really, maybe a coal company would be interested in not having that happen because they would like to continue to produce energy with coal. They don't want to see wind take over, but that's possible. Actually, it'd be very easy to do anyway these days. To just throw some stuff up on Facebook, create a couple accounts here and there. But I actually think it's really sad how divisive though this has made everybody around here. There's some definite kind of almost it looks like feuds where like the people like one house will have like pro wind stuff on one side of the street and the other house will have anti wind stuff on the other side of the street. It's created this like divisive atmosphere that it does feel like it's fallen along partisan lines largely at this point. But actually, I mean, maybe it's even more than that. I mean, it might have fallen along class lines around here, where larger landowners who are going to be more the beneficiaries of this financially are probably the ones that are. I mean, I don't know if they're like openly for it, but I think that they've already signed a lot of contracts already. With ProWind, specifically, I guess it would be Apex Energy who's coming to this area to build these, which I don't have any problem. Just so everybody's aware. I mean, I don't have any problem with Apex. I don't have any loyalty though to them either. I'm completely neutral. I don't really have an opinion on what company does it. I guess I'm pro. Personally, I am pro green energy. I am pro, phasing out coal. I don't know. Do you feel the same way, Melanie? I guess.
Yes, and for multiple reasons. I mean, look at the horrible things that coal industry has done to the South. I mean, they leveled mountaintops.
Yeah.
For coal.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally cut the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And impacted their lives terribly, and there's been a lot of deaths in the coal mines. And I know that they need an economic opportunities maybe that are different for those families there. And I think that we as a nation could provide those retraining and jobs that pay more than what they're getting paid for that.
Ironically, I feel like Appalachia is probably a fairly good spot to build wind turbines.
Yeah.
It's probably fairly windy there up in those mountains. But that's up to the localities there, I suppose. Up to the scenic. And I actually totally get it, too, if you're obsessed with tourism and scenery. I get it, that especially places like Appalachia that would affect things there. I don't really understand that argument for Montcalm County as much. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, when you drive around Montcalm County, it's mostly either you're in a little town or village, or you're driving on the highway past lots of cornfields.
Yeah, I just don't see this place as scenic. It's nice. It's a nice spot. I don't see how a few wind turbines are going to affect the land value here. I think that's a bit of not a rational argument anyway. I'm not saying that people can have that opinion. I just don't think that would not affect my desire to buy a house here or not, whether there was a wind turbine here, I guess. That's an argument that people have used, I think, against it, is that it could lower land values. I don't think that there's much to see here, honestly, in general. It's pretty flat, lots of cornfields. There's some woods. It's not ugly. There's some more scenic areas around here. There can be, but I don't think it's like a big tourism area. Honestly, I don't think it's going to severely hurt the economy to bring some wind turbines here. Like I think that argument has been used. It could hurt it. Yeah, that's all I had really for that. But
I also want to go back to what you just said about people worried about their land values. That is, okay, so there's lots of wind turbines that are already up in Michigan. This is not a new technology. It's been around for quite a long time. And it really doesn't affect the land value that much. And also, what really I don't understand, because Montcalm County is almost a renaissance zone, okay, as far as a lot of factories left. There's a huge amount of poverty here. Oh, and yeah. The tax coffers for having these, it says in this Wood TV article that it could possibly bring as much as $40 million into the local tax coffers over its life. So that would be quite a large impact for this area.
Montcalm County really, really could use that. This is actually a fairly, relatively speaking, poverty-stricken area. Mm. And I think that a lot of people maybe are in denial about that who live here. But this is not a rich area at all, by any stretch of the imagination. And that money really, the schools could really use it, all the schools around here. Yep. I think Carson City, in particular, is already benefiting from that. There's already a bunch of wind turbines over in that little corner there of the county and over in Negrasha County. I don't know how people there feel about it, honestly. When I've worked over there as a clerk, I don't think I've ever really heard anybody talking about it that much. I think it's probably been good for the economy as far as jobs over there. Again, I can't really speak to the land value aspect of it, but I don't see how it would really horribly hurt it anyway, unless everybody just got together and decided they all hated wind turbines and they were all just gonna move and sell their houses, I guess, and that would cause, land to be worthless. But barring that.
Okay, I am looking at the Montcalm wind site, which is a pro-turbine site, but it does say that it doesn't raise or decrease residential property values. And it cites a major independent study on the topic released in 2013 by Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, which analyzed more than 50,000 home sales near 67 wind facilities in 27 counties across 9 states, and was unable to uncover any impacts to nearby residential property values.
But I don't know if that's really valid. I mean, as far as now you're looking at that. I'm looking at that. I'm like, that's actually the company that wants to put them in, and they're going to skew towards their own interests, honestly. I don't know if that's really a believable study at that point. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't even want to take... I don't know. I don't even want to take a side on that particular issue. I don't think it's likely, like I said, but I hate to cite the very company that's trying to do it. That doesn't seem like a very valid source, that's all.
CNN also did a fact check on this because apparently former President Trump claimed that wind turbines hurt property value. Mm-hmm. And on March 22nd, 2019, CNN stated the study found no statistically significant negative impacts on house prices from the turbines. RWI Essen found that wind turbines can decrease the property value of single-family homes by 7.1% if they're built 0.6 miles away, but as the distance from the wind turbine increases, the effect just decreases.
So, okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy CNN. As far as the CNN study, I would consider that to be... I mean, I guess it depends on the person here. I consider that to be trustworthy. I mean, obviously, you, the listener, do not have to think that's trustworthy, but I'm going to have to go by that. That makes sense. So as long as they're far enough away... How far did it say again?
Let's go back up here. 0.6 miles.
Yeah, so a little over half a mile away. That makes sense. And I think there's plenty of places in Montcalm County and in Michigan, all over, where you could easily be that far away from a house and have a wind turbine. So that makes sense to me. I agree that they don't need to build them on top of houses. They don't need to build them right in town or right next door to where people live. But I think there's plenty of room. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of farm fields in this county alone. I mean, all over the place. Lots of empty land. I mean, not empty. It's full of corn most of the time. And I think there's plenty of room to put a few windmills. I mean, especially if it's only like we're talking like under 100.
Many of the windmills over by Carson City and Gratiot County area are in farmers' fields. They're farther away from the houses. They're not close by. That's true. I feel like, and also if you travel up to the UP, you see wind turbine farms along the way once you get north in the northerly counties and on the lakeshore area there. Mm-hmm. Traverse City has some as well. And I don't believe that affected... I mean, if it was severely affecting real estate values, then there probably wouldn't be as many wind farms as what logically
I think there are a lot of people on the lakeshore that are probably trying to prevent it. And maybe that's why the companies... To be fair, I have read... I mean, like, especially in richer areas along lakeshore, they don't want them there, right? So
the richer area of Traverse City... It all went through the townships a long time ago. I used to live up there about, 10 or some plus years ago. Anyways, they have Cherryland Electric that uses, and they have a percentage on your electric bill, and you can choose how much you want from wind power and how much is just regular coal and nuclear or whatever on your bill. And back then, it was more expensive to use the wind turbine power, the green energy.
I'm sure.
And now it's probably a lot less. When I lived there, yes, it was more expensive.
No, but I mean, is it less now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't know about that.
You want me to check it?
Yeah, I doubt. I feel like that's not the case at this point.
But that's when it was.
I feel like it will someday maybe be less. I have not heard that it's less. I don't know that any wind power, I haven't heard that green energy is less than coal. I think that's just, I don't know, I haven't heard that at all, so. Okay, after looking it up here on the internet, Melanie found several sources, actually, and I found one from Ars Technica, and it's an article from 8/17/2019. We can actually post this to the Facebook page if anybody wants to verify it. I had no idea that this was true, but apparently it has been far cheaper to build and operate wind farms than to use fossil fuels for years and years and years. This is from 2019. This week, the U.S. Department of Energy released a report that looks back at the state of wind power in the U.S. by running the numbers on 2018. The analysis shows that wind hardware prices are dropping even as the new turbine designs are increasing the typical power generated by each turbine. As a result, the recent wind farms have gotten so cheap that you can build and operate them for less than the expected cost of buying fuel for an equivalent natural gas plant. And then also apparently at the time there is tax credits. Apparently they're like prices for wind power plummeted from like the late 2000s for the last decade. Apparently it's incredibly cheap. In fact, you found an article, right, Melanie, saying that like they're worried it could get too cheap. Like it's just like free power basically. It's crazy. I had no idea about this. I thought that because of the global climate change initiatives, many countries were giving wind power subsidy, and that caused the price to be driven down to implement wind power. But now this article is from Reuters, dated November 24th, 2021, and the headline is "Wind Power Risks Becoming Too Cheap," says top turbine maker. Yeah. So in the article here it says that basically the subsidies made it cheaper to do wind power. Many countries were changing over to that. And now countries are starting to phase out some of the subsidies to equalize the contracts a little bit and focus more on local job creation, etc., to even it out so it doesn't plummet the whole industry. And is this similar to that situation, it seems like not that long ago here, where like gas prices, crude oil prices fell like below zero, right? Like they were like negative $30 a gallon or whatever the heck crazy thing. Like it's impossible, right? But it somehow in the stock market it is very possible. So yeah, for those things, I'm sure it's like same with wind electricity, right? Like if there's just too much electricity apparently. Yeah. The price of electricity now is negative. They should be paying you for giving you electricity. I don't know, but like that's that would.
I think a lot of people would love that on their electric bill.
I think so too. To me that makes it totally worth it. Actually, if it's really windy out, I guess we just get free electricity. If only that would happen.
Right.
If only that would happen. I think that's the deal that needs to be struck here. They can build them wherever they want if we get free electricity on windy days. That's the build them right here, right next to my house. As long as I get free electricity. Yep. I don't care.
If you, that plus eliminate all power outages.
Wow.
Great.
Well, I'm really glad we talked about this today. I really thought like we were still. Like natural gas and more than coal, actually. I thought natural gas was probably far cheaper than anything, really, at this point. I figured coal was relatively cheap, but apparently that stuff's starting to just, that's already changed. That's changed a while ago, so.
And,
I did not know that. Yep.
We can do a future podcast maybe on climate change. Is it real? I don't know. But yeah. But apparently enough people in the world believe it to be, and so they're trying to change things slowly. Yeah. So I guess we'll see what the future holds for energy, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. I think that as more and more places start to go underwater and have insano firestorms and horrible things happen, I think more and more people probably tend to believe that climate change is real. I think that's hard to. I think it's harder to convince people sometimes to in Michigan actually, it's pretty calm around here. You don't really see those effects as much. It's.
And I've heard people here be like, okay, well, yeah, I see that we don't get as much snow as we used to when I was a kid, but how do we know it was us that impacted the climate and it's not just part of the Earth's, cycles or whatever? Are we entering an ice age? We don't know. Are we the dinosaurs? Well. Tune in next billion years to find out, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that is an argument that people use, I think. It's just all out of our control. There's nothing we can do.
It goes back to the rights versus responsibility. Yep. We have a responsibility to each other as humans, huh? Yep. We should take care of each other and our home that we live on, this beautiful earth that we have, with the beautiful oceans and beautiful air we breathe.
Yeah.
But that's just me. That's how I feel.
No, we should. I know it's we can't just leave it up to fate, I guess, and just destroy everything around us and just think that it'll just kind of work out, because it won't. Yeah, I agree with you.
Does anything work like that? Even relationships, you have to tend them like a garden.
You do.
And our relationship with the Mother Earth too. We have to tend it like a garden. Yep. You have to water it and give it love. It'll be okay. Mm-hmm. Maybe, if people realize this in time. I don't know. I'm kind of scared.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm hoping my kids have an Earth to live on and they don't have to live in a spaceship bubble or something.
I think it'd be cool if we got to live in domes. I always wanted to live in dome cities. That'd be sweet. like Chrono Trigger.
Those were a big thing in the 80s, like the Geodome they locked people in. Whatever happened to those people?
Oh, man, I don't know. Yeah, actually, I was reading something about that not that long ago. I heard it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Like, it did not work out at all. But that's another story.
The modern version of that is the van life, right?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, that turns out to not be
spaces and
the greatest thing for everybody, apparently.
Right. You need to let people out once in a while.
Should we? Yeah, you need to get out of the van. Take a walk. Yep, get out of the van.
Well, anyway, I hope this episode has.
No, I wanted to say really. I don't really want to wrap it up quite yet. Not quite. I didn't know if you had. Did you have anything else to add about wind power?
I don't think so.
Like that.
I just hope people are nicer at the township meetings.
Yeah, be nicer to your local elected officials. Yeah. They represent you. You're the voter. If you're unhappy with your elected officials, run for office and be the change that you want to see, I guess, or the lack of change, if that's what it is. If you don't want change, but you could still run on that platform and maybe get elected, be civil to your neighbors and to your to your township, to your representatives at your township meetings. So
you can speak in a calm manner with decorum and still get your point across without having to scream and yell or threaten or anything like that.
In fact, I think much of the time you might get your point across better.
Yeah, because people will tune you out when you're yelling. Mm-hmm. They won't hear a thing you're saying.
Yep. And that's something, we all could benefit from that information, I suppose. And yeah. So I don't know if that's all we had about wind power. There was something else I think we want. Oh, yeah, that's right. I think that you had something else you wanted to add about the high school shooting, right?
Right. I just read this morning that Dana Nessel offered her office's services to help with the investigation, the shooting investigation for the school. And this morning I read a news story that the school declined Dana Nessel's offer. So I don't know where that's going, or I don't really have an opinion on whether she should or should not have gotten involved or any of that, but it's an update on the story.
Yeah.
For now, I guess we will keep our eyes peeled.
I wonder what the school was thinking when they declined it, though. I wonder if that was like their legal, like if they got legal advice to decline it, and that does make it seem bad, though, for the school administration, to be fair. And I want to be on the side of the school administration, but I am... That makes me worry. That's for sure. I'm like, come on, transparency here. Mm-hmm. Transparency.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yes.
I don't understand why they wouldn't want more, not less. But I mean, obviously they have to take the advice of their lawyers. So that's that ongoing situation. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to say was really quick. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Obviously too. And also we're not really sure how often we're going to get a chance to do this podcast. We're going to do it as often as we can, kind of. But don't expect like a daily or even weekly thing. It's just like...
Let's admit, my husband works, and also we have children and appointments and things. So we have to work it in and around when we have childcare to watch them for an hour.
Yeah. So
here and there. So
exactly. It's all about work schedule and school schedule and child schedule for whoever we can find to watch them. So yeah, it's just as much as we can work this in. So but yeah, thanks a lot for listening. Really, really appreciate it. So, and
I hope that this will calm down the arguments in the community, and if you have comments or anything else that you want to say about this topic, and feel free to email us at thebenandmelanieshow@gmail.com.
Yes, or feel free to make a comment, I guess, on the Facebook page, right?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page now, also called The Ben and Melanie Show on Facebook.
Yeah.
So you can also hear our podcast there. We're working on getting the podcast across platforms, but it does take a little bit for Google and Apple and the other companies to approve you.
They don't all play nice. Yep.
Yeah, so it takes a minute. And plus, we're still learning this, so we'll see what happens,
Yep. And, all right, great. Well, what is our outro going to be this time? What's our...
I want to say see you later, A, because it's very Michigander.
But I don't know if that's a UP thing, isn't it?
It's a native thing.
Oh, that's true. I guess
my
that's
people
a native
say
thing.
it all the time, A.
I guess it crosses geographic boundaries that way.
Bama P.
Yeah, Bama P. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's Ojibwe for see you later.
Yeah,
Bama P. Gowabaman.
So, well, Bama P. Thank you.